Welcome back to Arc on the Internet. Okay, so tonight Rex is vid by Animated Horror Flicks and it's called My Last Night Shift. Abandoned, animated horror stories. Man. Well, I know people that have worked night shifts. Yeah, I'm a night owl, but does that mean I want a job where I'm working nights? Hell no. But end of the day, beggars can't be choosers, and yeah. I mean, if the pay's good, then I'm glad to make sacrifices anyway, so yeah. But yeah, sure. Without further ado, I'm about to react to this horror story. Let's see what made this their last night shift.
This happened to me a couple of years ago, during my final year of law school, and I just started volunteering at a legal clinic to gain some experience before I graduated.
Okay.
I'll admit, it took
Fair
some
enough.
getting used to, the new job, and although most of the cases were regarding custody battles and disputes between landlords and their tenants, I hope that one day the experience would help me land a job at one of the top law firms in the city. It was Social Friday, and I was working a little later than usual, trying desperately to wrap up some paperwork regarding my latest case. Apparently, the building owner had failed to comply with certain safety regulations and was now on the hook for a hefty fine. However, my boss managed to negotiate a killer deal on rent in exchange for legal representation.
Okay.
I wasn't planning on pulling an all-nighter, but I decided I would stay at the office for as long as it took to free up my weekend. Besides, I was only a 20-minute Uber ride away from my apartment, so I wasn't too worried.
Okay.
After indulging in a short coffee break, I decided to head outside for a quick smoke and get some fresh air to clear my head. I guess I must have forgotten how late it was, because after peeking through the window and observing the empty street, the idea of going outside at night alone seemed like a really bad idea. I was too lazy to head for the roof, so I decided not to go outside at all and just smoked my cigarette at the end of the hallway, which I'm glad I did, because just a few moments later, I began hearing someone moving around outside. The last thing I wanted to do is draw any attention to myself, so I finished my cigarette and quietly headed back upstairs. As I reached the office, I immediately noticed something odd. I don't remember exactly if it was the sound of the bustling city or the sharp chill from outside, but either way, it drew my attention to one of the large windows, which was slightly open, and I remember thinking it was strange that I hadn't noticed it before. Fortunately, the windows didn't open very wide, so I had no immediate cause for concern, but as I closed the window, I couldn't shake this feeling of being watched, which is when I noticed someone outside on the street looking at me.
Oh, you definitely being watched.
It was too dark to make out any distinguishing features, but my gut told me it was someone from the street. Eventually, he started gesturing something like he wanted to enter the building. I gestured back that I wasn't interested, but he just responded with the same gesture and seemed oddly persistent. I knew it was cold outside, but there was no way I was going to open the door to a complete stranger.
Yeah, obviously
So I
not.
just
You know what the fuck
ignored
they can do.
and headed back to my desk, where I glanced at the clock and wondered if I should be heading back.
See now that was clever, right? Because this other one I watched, they left their front door open, so any intruder can come in. So yeah, this one, don't open the doors. Just looking. I'm here, some side thinking to myself, don't open the door, don't open the door.
Suddenly being interrupted by an alarm of some kind. It wasn't very loud, but I was quite sure it wasn't coming from a cell phone or a clock. Eventually, I found the culprit to be a smoke alarm.
Obviously a smoke
which was
alarm.
very strange, considering there was no evidence of any fire or smoke.
I'm not saying anything. Okay.
I guess it had been a long time since anyone bothered to replace the batteries, because it went silent just after a few seconds, which was quickly
That might
preceded
change
by
the
a
battery in
loud
my
knock
smoke
on
alarm.
the door downstairs. Admittedly, it was very surprising
It's
to
like the
receive
smoke
any
set that thing
visitors
off.
at that hour. But then again, the clinic was located in a rather sketchy part of town and had its fair share of hobos and troublemakers. I was hesitant to even approach the front door at first. Not because I didn't know who it was, but the knocking sounded more like someone trying to force their way in, or at least get my attention. I looked outside the window, but couldn't see anyone, and against my better judgment, I finally gave in and headed downstairs to see if it was a matter for the police. However, by the time I got there, the knocking had already stopped, and I was met with a quiet, empty hallway and no obvious signs of disturbance. That's when it really hit me. Maybe it was time to be getting back home. It wasn't too late to binge some Netflix and pass out on the sofa. It was Friday night after all. So I hailed an Uber and prepared for a safe ride home. But as I turned off the lights to the office, I began hearing the loud knock on the door again. I just stood there in silence until eventually the knocking stopped, and I had a pretty good idea who it was at that point.
It's
So
the
I
same
returned to the
person,
window,
wasn't
which
it?
was all surprised to see the same homeless guy outside, facing the building.
Of course, it's the
My
same guy.
patience was running low, and I really didn't want this guy lurking around outside when my Uber arrived. So I tried to gesture for him to just leave me alone, which is when I realized something that gave me the chills.
This was a hop in your Uber.
I could hear knocking on the door again. It wasn't the guy on the street.
Then who?
It was someone else, which I thought was strange because I hadn't witnessed any interaction between the homeless man on the street and whoever it was knocking on the door. In fact, he didn't seem to acknowledge that anyone was at the door at all and continued with the same gesture as before. What did it mean? My Uber driver was just a few minutes out, so I was going to have to approach the door eventually, but just as before, as soon as I got to the hallway, the knocking stopped and everything went completely silent. I took one deep breath and cautiously walked towards the door as I endured the chill that suddenly enveloped the hallway. Once again, I peered through the window and observed just an empty street. No sign of anyone, not even the homeless guy, which oddly enough made me feel even more anxious as I inserted the key in the door.
Just
I had a really bad feeling about what was on the other side, but it was nothing compared to the horror of what happened next. As I witnessed something truly terrifying emerge at the end of the hallway that I simply can't explain.
So, what the heck? That's somebody burning.
As I came to, I was met with the homeless man who was mumbling something that was difficult to understand. Eventually, I figured out that he was deaf and also had trouble with his speech.
Oh.
I had no recollection of what happened when the light blew out, or how I got outside. Only that the homeless man found me this way after fleeing from a car that he thought was the police. When I asked him about the gestures he was making, he told me that while he was collecting cans from the trash, he witnessed someone attempting to escape through the window. He tried to warn me about what he saw, but was unable to get my attention. That's when I realized this whole time I'd mistakenly thought someone was trying to get in, when in fact,
Someone's trying to escape.
someone or something was trying to escape. I guess despite the drama of that night, the kind, homeless man just wanted some company and indulged me with a story regarding the old building.
Oh, no,
I
about the old
understood
building.
a few decades ago, it used to be a factory, but there was a fire. And since there were no proper fire escapes installed, one of the workers remained trapped inside and was engulfed by the flames. Something about the story somehow echoed the strange events of that night, and I didn't tell anyone about what happened. The hardest part was trying to explain to my boss how the door was still locked, even while the keys remained on the inside. Anyway, I assumed the building was haunted, so I avoided working late nights after that, and never worked alone.
Oh yeah, definitely. You don't want to be. I definitely don't blame you there, dude. Dude, working the night shift on your own in a rough neighborhood. No, recipe for disaster right there. That's why I would never dare work a night shift. Absolutely the fuck not. I think the doppelganger one was definitely the most chilling. The one I reacted to before that one. So yeah, I'm just gonna jump right into the comments though. Yeah, do not work the night shift alone, guys. Okay, geez, your skills with Blender combined with your storytelling is simply astonishing. Astounding? I think it's astounding. I wouldn't say astounding. Oh, gosh. But yeah, I definitely need to try using Blender though, that's for sure. But I don't think I'm going to do that for this project. I'll end up failing if I do. Also, I think I've got time. Actually, I do have time. I'm in October now, and deadline's not till January, so yeah, I think I've got time. Yeah, I've got time. But, I don't know. So I avoided working late nights after that and never worked alone. Yeah, we know he's gonna take another late night job and get terrified again. Probably. But I'm the mood. Yeah, I think this is a nice bedtime story to listen to at 12:17 a.m. Oh man. Well, I'm watching this at 9:57 p.m. So yeah, that's the time I'm filming this anyway. This creator never fails to astonish me. Yeah, a lot of work goes into these animations, that's for sure, right? People, obviously, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't, right? Speaking of, one of my friends, and then trying to do animation, I'm like, they should go for it. Okay, good. Cheers to another brilliantly spine-tingling tale. Okay. Wow, the plot twist. One of the best animation channels that I've ever known. Keep up the good work. Yes, definitely. Oh, when the plot twist. Literally, that's so crazy because I thought someone was trying to come in, but no, someone trying to get out. But damn. Then there's just a story. It's just a story, and it's definitely getting me into the vibes of Halloween. So yeah. That reminds me, I need to watch Halloween Returns at some point. But yeah, cool vid. Cool animation. Okay, so that's it for this video. Like, subscribe if you want. I post if whenever I feel like it, and I'll see you next one. Bye.